Hey guys, Victoria Ann here. As I said, I was going to post the video of how to do an injunction. So I'll go over it real quick. I had done one injunction prior to this. Again, it is 110% something I do not recommend. I did not like it at all. I had to go, I want to say last year, because the janitor in my gym just did not like me. It wasn't like a romantic thing or a sexual thing. I didn't even know him. He didn't like me. It was one thing after another. He'd come into the locker room to yell at me, and then so on and so forth. And then one night he, or like one of his associates or something like that, locked me in. But thank God my friend just so happened to work at the gym, and I was able to get in touch with him. So that's how that went. So, and that didn't get approved with good reason, because injunctions, believe it or not, are super hard to get approved. That's something I had learned. Where did I learn that from? Oh yeah, when I worked for attorneys back in the early, well, I want to say mid late 2000s, before I moved up here, they're very hard to get approved. For example, one of the girls I saw one time, she had a Frankenstein scar. It went all the way up from her, I want to say in front of her ear, down her neck, and then she had a broken clavicle. She did not get it approved. I'm telling you, these are hard to do, but fear not. Like I said, in terms of me, I did get lucky in terms of I had witnesses, I had bruises, I had physical evidence. Also, like when in terms of the phone calls and stuff like that, one of the police officers, one of the deputies, just so happened to be over my house, and that's when I got one of the phone calls, and I handed the phone to him, and he answered it. It was actually really great. It was perfect. I didn't get another phone call for like 3 days after that. Real quick, I'm not going to go into too many details about this, because it's one of those things. I'm not so much a private person, but there are certain details in my life I don't want incredibly exposed. Having said that, I did cross out just about everything. Everybody knows it's in the state of Florida. Every county is different. Some counties it costs to get an injunction. Mine did not at all. Again, they're very, very complicated. Nobody ever explained that to me, so I'm going to explain that to you. The first time that I went for it, I didn't know that I had to include all of the incidents that happened, so mine didn't get approved like that day. They were like, yep, nope, sorry, not approved. And when they told me why, and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had to write everything down. I wish someone had taken time with me and explained it to me. They do explain the gist of it, but they don't have time to go over everything with every single person that walks in. So real quick, this is what an injunction looks like. It's good at, so that's the court, the county, and state. Your case number is, oh, come on. Come on. Okay, it's gonna have numbers and letters on it. The division, petitioner is you, and then the respondent is going to be him or her. I didn't even know this. Nobody explained it to me. So it's going to go over everything, the date, so on and so forth, the room. So that part you don't really have to do. The only thing you have to worry about is your case number, because that's going to be very important. Your name, his name, so on and so forth. Pretty simple, right? Right. This shouldn't take too long, by the way. Yeah, they do look complicated, but they're not that bad. Read everything. I didn't. Please read everything. If I had read everything, I probably would have been a little bit better. But like I said, I did get pretty lucky, like in terms of everything. But again, read everything. Please read everything. So it's going to go over everything in here. When I say everything, I mean everything. The number of feet that they have to stay away from you, the whole thing. This is mostly going to be the clerk and the notary's paperwork, so you don't have to worry about a lot here. I'll explain what you do need to go over. In the event that yours gets approved, you have to update them. Where, like, if you get a new job, for example, you have to tell them, because if he or she shows up there, guess what? There's nothing they can do about it. The fact that you didn't update them, that's on you. So it's going to go on, so forth. Okay, so that's the date that I put it in. I went back and forth several times, mostly because I didn't want to do it. I was scared of him finding out that I told someone. I was scared of seeing him again. The whole thing. It is worth it. It really is worth it. So like I said, I do not recommend injunctions at all, period. I don't think they're healthy unless the person is, for a fact this person is after you, or if they have threatened you, or if they're bothering you. For me, I would have let it go. Once I left that job, left that town, left those friends, and came back here, I would have let it go. If he hadn't have moved here, tried to get a job at my place, called me nonstop, contacted my friends, showed up to my house, we never really found out for a fact if he did, but in any case, that reminds me, I'm going to show you guys the picture of the camera resolution I was telling you guys about. So that's the only reason that I did it. Other than that, I wouldn't have done it. I didn't want to see him again. I just wanted it to be over with. But unfortunately, Sometimes, again, you got to be selfish and you got to think of yourself. So this is generally theirs, but again, read it. Now, this is something you have to fill out. So county, so that, again, that's your case number. Don't lose it. Division, don't worry about that. You, him or her, you. This is going to be your address. This for me wasn't too bad. He already knew where I lived, so if he didn't know where I lived, like where I lived, then maybe I would have been a little bit nervous about this part. He knew where I lived. There's nothing I could do about it. Oh well. There's no minors involved. We don't have any kids. I didn't hire an attorney. I didn't need one. This is the part that freaking sucked. I had no idea where he lived. When I had to file a police report, they made me look up his address. So I had to go online. I had to, like, I forget what the service is called, but I had to pay for it. And I had to get his address, and I had to give it to them. And guess what? When I gave it to them, the officer was like, yep, that address is correct. I was like, what do you mean the address is correct? I told you I didn't know where he lived. I'm not saying it was their fault. I don't know if that's something that they do, but it was very, very annoying because I was like, okay, you owe me $18 now because I had to look it up and you owe me $18. So anyways, so that's the part where it really, really sucks. So anyways, so that's my address. That's his address and where he worked. Address, working hours, so on and so forth. Didn't know his working hours, had to take a wild guess. I mean, in this area of Florida, he's not in my town, he's not even in my county, but we're a very nightlife state, which is why I love it here so much. So I could generally guess, like, the hours, but again, I even told the clerk, I was like, I'm not positive, but it's fine, they get it. This is going to be your part. I knew him well enough that I knew all this except for his date of birth, but that was something that came along when I went to go look up his, his address. So that's all there. No distinguishing marks, no nicknames, didn't know much about him in terms of attorney and stuff like that. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Any other cases going on? I put NA as in not applicable. However, at the time, there were no cases going on. I was honest about that. There's just, and it's not that, I was very nervous because the second time around, I put down not applicable because that, as of then, there was no case. And then the next day I got the phone call saying that there was a new case. And I was like, oh crap, I hope I don't get in trouble for that. So be as honest as you can. If you don't know something, just make sure they know that you don't know something. Trust me. As I was saying about his witness that he brought in, perjury is a very big, big issue. I think it's a felony, but I'm not sure. You could go to jail longer for lying under oath or lying to an authority figure, whether it be a judge or a police officer, longer than you can for an actual crime. Don't lie, period, especially under oath. You have no idea what it could do for you. I've heard it happen. I've never obviously experienced it personally. I'm in no place that I would gain anything to lie that, and I have way too guilty of a conscience, but you don't lie under oath. I think any idiot knows that. You do not lie under oath. You are going to get caught one way or another. The truth always, always reveals itself, guys. Don't even try it. So, real quick, in terms of this, so this is where it got a little bit easier because they actually explained to me a little bit more what I do with a injunction, because I didn't fill the first, or I think the second one out properly. I think I made mistakes on both of them. So you're going to list at least 2 of the incidences and why you're afraid of them. However, if there are more incidences, sorry if I'm talking really weird, I just had a tooth pulled and I have a sore throat, so I'm going to bed after this. They gave me a separate page and I said statement is typed and has been attached because there were quite a few more incidences. When you are writing it, just like in a police report, leave emotion out of it. I know that's really hard to do. Trust me, I get it. But this is my advice. Facts, dates, times, people, places, motives. Why did this happen? Did this person just randomly decide to attack you? I highly doubt it. Try to go into detail with that. Again, leave emotion out of it. I did not because I'm an emotional wreck all the time anyway, so there's that. Those are the 2 counties. That was another thing that was complicated. I live in a separate county. He lives in a separate county. It happened in a separate county. That's going to get complicated, but you typically don't have to worry about that. That's going to be the sheriff's office. Now, this is where it's very important. 500 feet. They cannot come within 500 feet of you. If they do, you let someone know, and you tell them, and they will deal with it. Another thing is you have to have a copy of this injunction on you at all times. Is it annoying? Abso-frickin-lutely. Do you need it? Abso-frickin-lutely. My work has it. Everyone has it. The head of security has it at my job. Don't take your chances. Just frickin' get it. It's really, really is worth it. Date, petitioner, state, county, my name. I just didn't want to put like the county and stuff like that, although it's probably not hard to guess where I live. I just don't want to put it, or in terms of what county, I don't want to put it online, obviously. All right, this is the last part of it, and it is the easy part. Notice of related cases. As I said, there were no related cases at the time. That made it really easy for me, because all I had to do was say no, and they fill out the rest of the paperwork. It is complicated. You're going to need at least an hour at this place, maybe a couple more. And yeah, that's about it. However, extensions. Now, when a injunction, whether temporary or permanent, gets extended, this is roughly what it's going to look like. You're going to have your name, his or her name, county, court, state, clerk, seal, the whole thing. It's going to explain how it's, or why it's getting, actually no, it doesn't say why. It's just going to say until when. So for me, I didn't put where, so December 23rd, extended until date. That's all I put, because I don't think y'all need to know how long mine got extended for, although I don't mind saying, actually, I don't know if I am. Anyway, not a big deal. So again, extended until date. This is an extension. Guess what? If you only have a copy of your injunction and not your extension, you're still going to be screwed if he or she comes around. Don't take this lightly. If you're serious enough about this to get an injunction, again, it's something I don't recommend. That is a very serious situation. You need to be serious about keeping it with you. I know it's annoying. His or her name, sheriff, you, him, her. So these are just basically signatures and names. That's everything. That's like where we had to appear, the date, the courtroom, the whole thing. That's the original one. Yeah, that's the original one. So the original one was attached, and then the injunction was the beginning of it, and then that is the final one. So yeah, there you have it. That's an injunction. Again, guys, that is something I do not recommend. Avoid it if you can, unless you think you are threatened, know you are threatened, and you have some kind of physical proof that you are threatened. And I don't mean just, oh, they said this, blah, 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 blah. No, I mean, do what I did. Video recording, captures, witness affidavits, the whole thing. I did not get a witness, I did not get a witness statement from my coworker who he had went to at my job, only because I didn't think I needed it. In that case, you need to check with your work. They typically will take care of all that stuff for you where you don't have to do a whole lot. All right, guys, that's it. Good luck with everything, and see you later.